Most of us, including myself, have always thought about Yah appearing in brightness and in light and in all His glory. But here's the truth. Darkness comes before He speaks, not from something evil, but His holiness is concealed, waiting for those with ears to hear and eyes to see. Exodus 20, verse 21. So the people stayed at a distance, but Moses approached the thick darkness where Yah was. Wait a minute, darkness where Yah was? Thick darkness. And that word in Hebrew is pronounced arafel, a dense dark cloud, an unknown space that shields Yah's presence. So let's examine what was going on at Mount Sinai in Exodus. Exodus 20, verse 18 through 21. All the people saw the thunder and lightning, heard the sound of the shofar, and saw the mountain covered in smoke. When they saw it, they trembled and stood far away. They said to Moses, "You speak to us and we will listen, but don't let Yah speak to us directly, or we will die." Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Yah has come to test you, so that His fear will be with you to keep you from sinning." So the people stayed at a distance, but Moses approached the thick darkness where Yah was. So why was Moses not afraid to approach this thick darkness where Yah was? And it was because Moses had already encountered Yah's presence once before, and we find that in Exodus 3, verses 2 through 6. The angel of Yah appeared to Moses in a flame of fire from the middle of a bush, and he looked and saw that the bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. Moses said, "I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush is not burned." When Yah saw that he came closer to look, Elohim called to him from the middle of the bush and said, "Moses, Moses." And he said, "Here I am." Then he said, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob." Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Elohim. At this encounter of the burning bush, Moses was exiled from Egypt, where he grew up as a prince. He was now separated from his people, the Hebrews, who were still enslaved. He was living among the Midianites outside the covenant land, wandering in the wilderness and not fulfilling his true calling yet. This is just like how the remnant now has been in the wilderness, not knowing Yah only. Moses didn't even know Yah's name yet. He was truly in spiritual blindness and darkness, not rebellion, but unawareness. But Moses had a humble heart, and he longed for Yah, not just Yah's blessing, and that's what made the difference. So when the cloud descended on Mount Sinai, where others saw fire and darkness and pulled back, Moses saw an invitation to go closer to Yah. He trusted Yah's voice more than the storm, because he knew Yah was in the cloud. And we find proof of this in Psalm 18, verse 11. He made darkness his hiding place, his canopy around him, dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 12. Then Yah said, "I will dwell among the people of Israel and will not forsake my people forever. My presence will be with them in a thick cloud." So now let's go back to first mention of Yah's presence. And we find that in Genesis 1, verses 1 through 2. In the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of Yah was hovering over the waters. Then Yah said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And Yah saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. This separation that Yah does at creation in the book of Genesis repeats itself in the Exodus for the children of Israel. And we find this in Exodus 14, verses 19 through 20. The messenger of Yah, who had been going ahead of the people of Israel, moved and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front of them and stood behind them. Coming between the army of Egypt and the people of Israel, the cloud brought darkness to the Egyptians, but it gave light to the Israelites. So the two sides could not come near each other all night. So Yah separated the light from the darkness in Genesis in the beginning, and he also did it in the Exodus. He separated the light and the darkness. And so what is the definition of this light and darkness? And we find that in Psalm 19, 7 through 10. The Torah of Yah is perfect, restoring the soul. The commandments of Yah are right, bringing joy to the heart. His instructions are pure, giving light to the eyes. Yah's ways are truth and righteousness altogether, more desirable than gold, sweeter than honey. Joel 10, Verse 22, a land as dark as darkness itself, a land of the shadow of death without any order, where even the light is like darkness. Proverbs 4, verse 19. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. So in Genesis, the first chapter, when Yah separated the darkness from the light, he was not just creating matter. He was speaking his Torah into the deep. This mirrors the state of the world without Torah, formless, chaotic, and empty. No instruction, no order, no light. This same word Yah used to bring light into the deep in Genesis, he gave to the children of Israel at Mount Sinai so they could walk in light in the midst of a dark world. His Torah. And this time, unlike in Genesis, Moses was there and Yah was hovering in the darkness of the cloud with the bow in it, waiting to reveal his Torah again. Moses bravely walked into the cloud to meet with Yah and receive his light again, the Torah, his instructions. And Yah gives Moses the revelation of order, boundaries, rest, and righteousness, just like he did in creation. So just like in the beginning, and just like at Mount Sinai, his presence comes first in a dark cloud, not easily seen, but very near. The voice of Yah is returning in whispers, in cloud, in fire. And just like before, some are afraid to come near, but those who recognize his voice will come closer before the fire falls. The ones who step into the thick darkness, they are the ones who will receive understanding and revelation. The prophets knew that this dark cloud would return again for the remnant and reveal Torah and revelation to the final remnant once again, just like in Genesis and just like in the Exodus. And we find this in Joel 2, verses 1 through 2. Blow the shofar in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Let all who live in the land tremble, for the day of Yah is coming. It is close at hand, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness, like dawn spreading over the mountains. A great and mighty people comes. Never has there been anything like it, nor will there be again for generations to come. Zephaniah 1, verses 14 through 15. The great day of Yah is near, near, and coming quickly. The sound of the day of Yah is bitter. Even warriors cry out. That day will be a day of wrath, a day of distress and anguish, a day of ruin and devastation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Brothers and sisters, Yah has been hiding himself behind the dark cloud. The world feels chaos, fear, and confusion. But the remnant, those with Torah written on their hearts, feel something else, a pull toward the cloud with the glory of Yah and the bow of mercy, the covenant within it. Zephaniah 2 verse 3. Seek Yah, all you humble of the earth, who do his commands. Seek righteousness, seek humility. Perhaps you will be hidden in the day of Yah's anger. The remnant has been wandering in the darkness, scattered and judged for generations because of idolatry. We were separated from Yah, but now some of us are entering the dark, unseen cloud, and within it, Yah is revealing His covenant again, His Torah, His mysteries, His voice, His weapon of war, the bow of mercy. Just like in the beginning at creation, when He said, "Let there be light," and He gave the Torah of truth, just like at Mount Sinai, when He gave the written Torah on 2 tablets of stone. Now, again, in this generation, Yah is revealing His Torah to the remnant before He reveals His glory to the world and before His wrath is poured out. Daniel 12, verse 4. But you, Daniel, seal up the scroll until the time of the end. Many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase. Isaiah 4, verses 5 through 6. Then Yah will create over all of Mount Zion and over those who gather there a cloud by day and smoke and the shining of a flaming fire by night. Over all the glory there will be a covering. It will be a shelter and a shade from the heat of the day, a refuge and hiding place from the storm and rain.